And we're live here on the Lonely Marks. Apologies for the little late start. Richie and I had some trivia duties to take care of. But we're here tonight, and we're finally ready to get together and talk some wrestling. So welcome to the Lonely Marks. Again, somewhat of a lonely show this evening with us, as it's just me and Richie of the crew. But we're always ready to talk wrestling. Right, Richie?
Yeah. A pretty damn good NXT show, and honestly, an interesting ECW show.
An interesting show, not the best one, but but not boring. I'll say it wasn't boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, and ECW shows can be like that. It can be like either really good, really bad, or like not boring, but interesting. But again, a nice slice of life of where ECW was at the time, so we can talk about that and things that were going on. But we didn't have a whole lot of current news that happened this week, unless you had anything, Richie. I really just had the NXT show, but anything of note you want to talk about as far as on that front?
I feel like it's been a dead couple of weeks, if I'm being honest. I feel like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, things when something big happens, I feel like I see stuff on my Facebook timeline or Twitter, people talking about things, and it's kind of just like we're just waiting for stuff to be announced for the Rumble, right? Sort of,
Yeah.
We're kind of in that dead spot, and same with the we're kind of waiting for stuff to be announced for World's End, the AEW show. Nothing's really been like hardcore announced yet, even though it's 2.5 weeks away or something like that. As usual, AEW will announce everything like a week before on Dynamite.
There's nothing really. Those are funny. I don't know how funny, but I mean, I know why they didn't, but so Kevin Von Erich's kids were Ross and I remember the last name, but the other one. But they were booked on Rampage, right? And then Matthew from Boxmania had something. He's like, man, it's a shame Christian wasn't involved in this segment.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I saw some meme actually after they had announced that. It was one of those memes where like it had the guy, the meme of like the guy looking around the corner, rubbing his chin, and it was Christian's face on it, of like how much material he can mine from the Von Erich family tragedy, if you will. And I was like, yeah, that kind of would have been perfect, right? At least for his character. And then I guess they didn't really do anything, so I would have seen something about it if they did.
Yeah.
It seems kind of perfect for it, right? To come out and be like, "Hey, how about that Fritz Von Erich? How about all your brothers?" And whatever. Yeah, and just go off on about it. Yeah, for sure.
Apparently, Chris Von Erich's not in the movie. I saw an interview with Chavo, who helped with some of the.
Oh, he did an interview with Van Vliet, right?
Yeah, and he did. And he said that that Chris Von Erich's not in the movie, and it was like. I think they were just like, that they did. I know something about it'd be kind of too tragic or whatever. But I don't know. Just it's still a story. I don't know. But it's like, but it's interesting. But yeah, I'm looking. It's annoying. It's like if that movie is really good, it could have made my best of list, but it doesn't come out here till fucking January. So,
okay. Yeah, it comes out here. I think it's like still semi-limited around the 21st or 22nd, but I know for sure. Again, it might be wide on the 22nd. I can't remember, but but I know at least one of my theaters, I'm on their email list, like one of the independent kind of art house sort of theaters that gets a lot of the art house movies, the indie movies. They have already announced it for their schedule for that week. So at least if anything, there's one theater I know that's showing it.
Yeah. So because I feel like and I think probably Malcolm is probably the same. Where I think a lot of the Oscar movies that and I'm maybe a lot of them will get probably come out within the first couple of months of next year.
Right.
So I'll hear, this is good, and then I'm like, I can't wait to see it in February. Cool.
Right. Yeah, because and even the ones, some of them that are out and getting the praise, like there's that Zone of Interest movie that people are talking about. That's not even out like wide here yet. It's just in the two.
Yeah,
weird ones. I think we might start getting that in a few more theaters in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, we'll see.
That was the one. that was the one that's like, I was reading the nominations, I stood out, I'm like, oh, what the hell is that movie? I know, I've heard the other ones.
Yeah, it's like it's a dichotomy movie where it's like this German family living this suburban Pleasantville type life, but literally over the wall of like next door to them is like a concentration camp. So
Okay.
it's like sort of a dichotomy movie where they're like living this life, but the horrors that are going on literally like right next door to them. So it's one of those movies.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm hearing good things about it. So
All right, cool, yeah, because basically, but yeah, I think, but yeah, other than the Von Erich showing up, I guess, yeah, it's yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's there's nothing nothing, not a whole lot going on.
no.
Apparently, I mean, I'll reference AEW in the NXT show a couple of times, just and apparently they're set to lose a lot of money this year just because of how much they spent. But
Yeah.
I guess that's like as long as they get a lot of money from TV rights, they're okay. But yeah, it's like that. Yeah, I think these days it's like as long as you're on TV, you can pay for it. But yeah, it's like but they're still going to work out. I think they're in the mix of TV negotiations at the moment. So hopefully that stays afloat. And then
I think they're going to get renewed because I do think the TV ratings are high enough to where they'll keep them around. So, like, because they do pretty consistent ratings from week to week, at least for what they do, which is fine, And so as far as I know, I think the ratings are good enough they'll get renewed, for TBS and TNT and whatnot. At least those shows. I mean, I think the thing they're hurting right now is the live attendance is not great, as you've seen.
Not great, and then unless you go to England.
Unless you go to other countries. But I mean, again, I think there's a way to solve that. I think they just literally for the TV shows. I mean, you hate to say it, they need to run smaller venues.
Yeah, I think the problem is that they can't for a while because they've locked into bigger venues throughout till the end of next year. So.
Right. No, I get that. But I do have some personal AEW news on that front. So AEW Revolution tickets are going on sale tomorrow.
I know. Yeah, okay.
It is in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is 3 hours from me. So I will be attending AEW Revolution for supposedly what's being billed as Sting's final match.
Hopefully not against Ric Flair.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I was there for Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, which was supposed to be Ric Flair's final match. I was at that WrestleMania, Richie, in Orlando. I saw that match live, and it was a big deal, and we all gave, it was a big moment for Ric Flair. And I was even at the Raw the next night where they kind of did the tribute, at the end of the show and kind of after the show and whatnot. All this Ric Flair tribute stuff, and that was great. And then, of course, he went on to TNA and other things, and it was not his last match. So whatever.
I'm tempted, how like Jordan does Snack Hero. I'm tempted to like order like and send him like a can of Woo.
Woo energy, yeah. Send him all 3 flavors and the box of 3 flavors or whatever. See if see what he thinks.
I'm sure it tastes gross. It can't taste good. I don't know.
There's certain energy drinks over here, Richie, that like there's certain ones that taste like medicine, like they're terrible or they have no flavor at all. There's actually several brands that are good. There's a Ghost brand that's actually really tasty and good. There's a brand called C4 that's really good, like where they actually taste like what they say, but still have like 0 sugar. So yeah, I don't know, but they're very hit or miss. The Rock's one that he had, the Zoe Energy or whatever it's called, is not good. That one is bad. It has the medicine-y taste. So his is not good. But yeah, I haven't seen. I think you can only order it online or something. So it's
you can. There you go. Yeah, just go to this website. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, good news on that front. So I'll be attending Revolution. I'll be able to give you guys a live report here on the Lonely Marks from Sting's final match, supposedly at Revolution. And I mean, hopefully that'll be a good card because remember, Will Ospreay said he'll probably be at Revolution because that'll be his first show where he'll be able to start, right? Theoretically,
yeah.
He should have a big match, at Revolution with somebody. So that should be good. And I mean, it's still early to speculate a card for that, but the way things are going, I hope Swerve has a big match. MJF. Hopefully some of these guys.
Maybe MJF has a match with whoever the devil is. I don't know.
Though drag it out for a little while. Yeah. But yeah, so a little news on that front. That was exciting. I got an email about tickets going on sale for that, and then I saw the venue and I was like, oh, sweet, and I looked it up. Hey, 3 hours from me. You know what? For a pay-per-view, I'll do that. So I'm gonna go there for that and check it out. Buy some tickets tomorrow. So I'm excited about it because I've been to 2 Dynamites and a Collision, but I've not been to a pay-per-view yet. So that should be fun.
No, that sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah. So you guys will that night. We usually do our watch along. You'll have to find somebody else to buy it or stream it. Besides me.
I might get it and I'll just stream it on my thing. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, definitely. But but other than that, let's get into our first line of business here. Let's talk about NXT Deadline because we at least had the at least this week, and I asked you about it in the private chat because we didn't talk about it, but I was like, you know what, we're kind of light on topics. Why don't we cover what they said many times, at least 87 times on the show, the final premium live event of 2023 for WWE, as they said multiple times. But I thought that was cool enough for us to watch it. So we won't go like match by match on this thing or whatever, but we'll just kind of talk about it in general.
Did you manage to catch the opening thing, the segment I talked to you about?
No, I didn't watch the Punk thing, so I saw pieces of it like online, like little clips. But I don't know. Somehow I don't even know how I skipped over it. I wasn't intending to. I didn't know it was right at the beginning. I thought it was like in the middle of the show, and then I didn't see it by the end of the show, and I was wondering. But I swear I didn't skip that far. I think I was just trying to skip the pre-show. That was all I was trying to do was fast forward through the pre-show because I couldn't tell where it was.
Apparently, there was a match on a pre-show, but I didn't.
I did see the pre-show match though. I saw the Axiom Nathan Fraser. Because I thought that would have been good. I thought that was the opening match, and then they went back to the pre-show people, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still in the pre-show." Okay, interesting. But no, that match was a lot of fun, actually. I hadn't seen either of these guys really in action that much, but they had some great spots. Nathan Fraser was very quick and fun to watch, and it was a good little kind of cruiserweight match that the crowd got really into. We even got like a This Is Awesome chant at one point, so I actually would encourage you to go back and watch it. It was pretty good.
Axiom is like he got quite well. He I think one of his matches got a lot of hype a few years ago because he had a really good independent match against Kenny Omega, I think in Italy, and then he got signed. He was A Kid, and then NXT UK, and then he became Axiom. But that would be. I'd imagine that'd be a good match. So not much to talk about the Punk thing. So I feel like Punk basically admitted Michaels came out and just said, are you ready? And then Punk came out, obviously got a huge pop. Being cheeky Punk, he had a Bret Hart hoodie on. And then Shawn Michaels like nice hoodie, but it was clear that they were just going off the cuff and they forgot what they were going to say.
Oh, okay.
And Punk even acknowledged that. He's just like, since we both forgot what to say, I have a lot of people come up to me and go, I used to watch you when I was a kid, and I can actually say that to you. I used to watch you when I was a kid. So then they got a selfie together, and he's like, a lot of people we know now, but like a lot of people are asking me, is CM Punk Raw or is CM Punk SmackDown or was it CM Punk the new star NXT? And then his music just randomly hit like it was very awkward. I was like, okay.
I guess we ran out of time. Time to go.
So it was like, okay. Someone was like, they clearly are just riffing. We've got to just cut them off.
That's so. Was his whole purpose there to potentially tease that he might go to NXT? I guess that was the whole purpose, essentially.
There is a rumor that he might be even though spoiler, he signed with Raw. I think he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think he might. I mean, I would say he's a favorite in my opinion to win the Rumble. But there's a rumor that he might get involved in creative in NXT, which is I think he'd actually be good at creative. I think he's got a good mind for the business. So interesting.
Well, he can help with promos and stuff too. That's for sure. He knows how to do that, and he's one of those guys that I think Triple H understands as well. Now that kind of Vince is gone, that when it comes to promos, these guys need to be a little more like their characters and a little more off the cuff, rather than trying to remember their lines necessarily. Just remember this line, remember that line, and make it very stiff and awkward, and just have more of because what Punk has famously even said, he's one of those guys that the writers would hand him his promo and he would just tear the paper up right in front of them, and just be like, no, I'm not doing that. And to be fair, That's one thing Jim Cornette's also said, whether you like Jim Cornette or not, but he's talked about promos about how most of these guys know their characters, especially if they've been playing these characters for a long time. They know their personalities, and you can hand them bullet points, basic bullet points. Yeah. Give them what do you need to get over in this promo, this point, and make it your own from there, and get over those points in your own way.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons like Moxley left WWE, because he would be handed this like really bad dialogue. He's like, I'm not saying that. And he's like, no. Yeah. And then he just got put in the corner when he has to like, and then he's already being weird segments where he's like getting like vaccinated, inoculated against like these gross fans or whatever. And he's supposed to be this lunatic.
He would never say that, ever.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be this lunatic fringe, and he never really came across as a lunatic. He comes across as a lunatic now. He comes across as more of a badass now than he ever did to be.
Right, because he can talk, because he just talks like himself. That's why he's constantly accidentally dropping F-boms all over the place, because he's just being him. You know what I mean? But yeah, I bet it comes off as authentic. There's a reason why guys like, it's just an example. Guys like New Jack would just do their promo and have a point to say, but you can't write. How do you got to write for New Jack? You can't write a script for him. He's not going to read that. Even Punk to a degree. He's just going to go out. He's going to do his own thing. He's going to slip him some personal jabs here and there, but that's what makes it interesting and memorable. When you do that, that's why also you have to listen to your other person do the promo, and respond to that rather than just trying to remember your next line.
Yeah. So but yeah, overall, like I'm actually surprised at obviously, they do their TV NXT and like the I think they call it the Capital Wrestling Center. It's a performance center, but. They get a smaller crowd. But I didn't realize I wasn't prepared for how big a crowd it would be. I was like, this is a bigger crowd than I've seen it for a while for NXT, because usually for the takeovers, you see big crowd, but it hasn't been that way for a while. And then sort of like
they were in an actual arena, for this show for Deadline, basically.
I like how this current iteration NXT is sort of like an amalgamation of the NXT that was popular, the Black and Gold brand, and like the NXT 2.0. It's like, okay, we'll compromise. It's just like an amalgamation of the two, and it kind of works. So
you get like some kind of over the top characters and whatnot, but it's still got that kind of the back to the good wrestling vibe, and we're just gonna have good matches.
Because I think if you had to knock Black and Gold NXT a bit, if I had to, I'd say, you had a lot of you signed a lot of really great talent that was really popular in other promotions and indie scenes, but like a lot of their gimmicks is a good wrestler.
This person is very athletic and very it has great matches, but they don't have much character or personality. That was like an issue. You get some exceptions. Maybe like an Adam Cole, kind of has a personality and somewhat of a
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black. Yeah, I mean, you get those guys, but I'm trying to think of Johnny Gargano doesn't really have like a character. He's just the small guy, people like that. I'm trying to think of these guys who are always like, headlining or have a good. I mean, to a degree, even the UK stuff, Tyler Bate, back then, or Pete, these guys are just like, they're known for their moves and, their style of wrestling, but not necessarily like a character,
I mean, I know he's not the greatest person to bring up in 2023, but like he's worth mentioning as far as because he got over because of a character. But Velveteen Dream,
he got over because of a character. Yeah, he was unique. And Shinsuke Nakamura, when he came there, had a unique like way he entered, and like he had kind of an enigma to him. You know what I mean? Like even though he was like a Japanese wrestler, I mean they had things too. Samoa Joe had a character. There's certain people that did that, and other ones that's just like this guy's a great wrestler, but what else?
All right, sick.
I mean, to a degree, even before his current run, and what you could say the same thing about Will Ospreay. Not much of a character, just a great wrestler. But now he's kind of trying to be more of like a personality with the Bruv thing, and he's trying to do like kind of a hooligans sort of guy who's also a great wrestler. At least expanding the character a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what that was what was missing with Toni Storm. She's got a character now, and she's over as hell.
Right. No, and I was at the show where she debuted at the Dynamite in South Carolina, but she was just Toni Storm, great wrestler. That was it.
And so a funky looking chick, and then
now she has a gimmick that's really over, and people like to watch. And you have to have that connection with the audience, like something that pushes that extra thing, Orange Cassidy, or these guys that have these like kind of characters that you could play off of, Max, or the Acclaimed, doing the rap thing, the Scissors, Danhausen, but yeah, to a degree, Moxley is the psychotic, lunatic, whatever, you got to have something that kind of makes you stand out, promo wise or personality wise, that the crowd can connect to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like, that's probably why it's like, I'm mentioning, I don't know I'm mentioning him, but he sends up to me. I was like, I can understand, and I agree that someone like Timothy Thatcher is a great wrestler, but
right.
like,
what's his character?
He's got no, and so it's unfortunate that he's bland, but haven't given him a gimmick to kind of maybe try to, at least attempting to bring anything out. I'm like, look, I know that there are a couple of people who can get away with having no character, like Benoit, but like, I feel like
but he also has, but his personality matches the wrestling, where he's like that no nonsense intense guy. It's the same thing with like Swerve doesn't have much of a character per se, but Prince Nana combination with him provides the extra kind of character with the audience, where he like does the over the top stuff while Swerve is wrestling great and in the middle, so like at least adds to that. Like having a manager that can like help with the character development, or so like give something for the the audience to like grasp onto or chat along with or pay attention to. You can have that dynamic where you can have the really good wrestler, but like the mouthpiece, who's the big personality, over the top character. That was what Bobby Heenan was. That was what Jim Cornette was. Like those guys you could kind of focus on if the person didn't have much of didn't do much talking or didn't have much of a personality.
So but
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we talked about, and it'll be a good segue into the next match. We had Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio, but look at Dominic Mysterio, kind of boring when he was just Ray's kid wrestling with him, right? And now he's this fake, badass, dirty Dom, pretends to be, this hardened criminal, Weasley chicken shit, heel, but like he's doing better character work than he ever did as just bland Ray's son wrestling like him,
and he's and I think he's improved in a lot of factors too. I'm quite a fan of I was a fan of him in the show.
no, and he was very good, and he's done well as, I think, one of those. I think people were shocked when he first won the North American title, but it's kind of like a perfect thing for him at the time, because it was like he can stand out on a show like NXT, where he can be like a semi-main event guy on NXT, not be like the champion, but he could be like, tote a belt around, and that he's like, the best on the card or whatever, but it's just NXT. It's not the main card. And he can excel and be in more of a spotlight than I think he would be just as part of the Judgment Day, on the main roster. And if you notice on the main roster, they use him occasionally, but he's not always the centerpiece of that. It's mostly Finn and Damien, doing that stuff. Yeah.
And he's used as a chicken shit heel, but he should be. Yeah.
Which he should be. Yeah. He should be the guy who pretends to be a badass, and he's not. That's great.
I also like, in the chat, you're saying like in the chat, like that Big Joseph is boring, and I kind of agree on the show at least. But
the commentary was weird on the show, because even in this match,
because contrastly, I always like kind of never thought much of Booker T on commentary. I thought he's entertaining. I think
Booker T is entertaining. He just needs a better straight man play-by-play guy. That's better.
He was really funny in this first match. Like,
but here's the thing, Richie. In this one, I got a specific example of this. They bring Rey Mysterio out, right? He comes out and he's kind of hurt right now, but he sits at the announcer table, right? But the commentary is weird because Booker T will be doing all these things where he's talking about Rey Mysterio, but instead of going, "You, Rey Mysterio," he was just talking vaguely about Rey Mysterio, and I just wanted to be like, he's right next to you, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like, Rey Mysterio's got all these great qualities. He was a great wrestler. You mean you right here, Rey Mysterio, next to me? He could talk directly to him.
No disrespect, Rey Mysterio is a cruiserweight champion. But and Rey wasn't great. Like, there was a point in this match, right? I don't know. She's trying to be ironic, but like so Dominic Mysterio does the Three Amigos, and Rey Mysterio goes, come up with your own moves. Don't do other people's moves. I'm like, fuck off. You've done the Three Amigos before.
Chavo's done the Three Amigos. You've done the Three Amigos. Yeah, I mean,
you do a frog splash.
right. Yeah, it's like you guys all rip on Eddie. Yeah, it's like okay, and that's the thing that like every heel did as well. Like against Rey Mysterio, they would hit Three Amigos too. It's like whatever. Yeah, and it's he does the 619 also, or attempts to do the 619, and yeah, it's like Rey Mysterio. Yeah, but Rey was not very good on commentary because it would have been better if he just went back and forth with Booker T a little more directly and be like, no, but I did this and I did this. And Booker T could be like, playing sort of he's kind of playing a heel announcer. Not really. He didn't go full in on it, but he's kind of like defending Dom in this match, a lot, kind of like, talking about his accomplishments. But he could be like, no, like I did way more than my kid, like even at that time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it would have been more fun if they just went all in on it,
Yeah.
Like, go back and forth. Or if you had a better middleman than Vic Joseph to direct that back and forth, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I know they, was a go-to, but Michael Cole would have been,
he could have played that up, you know what I mean, between the two, or moderated that a little bit better to like make it more interesting. I think, yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, in terms of the match, I thought it was all right. I think because I think Dom's gotten better at like sort of keeping up pace with the match. I think obviously like Dragon Lee still like sort of carried him a bit, but like he was able. I don't think it was meant like I think everything looked all right, except for like there was I think one spot where they Dom DDT'd him on the apron, which looked a bit wonky, and then Dragon Lee came up with like a busted lip. I was like, oh shit. But overall, I thought that they worked pretty well. But the finish sort of came out of nowhere. It was like a tilt-a-whirl, and then it was almost like a scorpion deathlock type thing. It was a tilt-a-whirl thing. I'm like, okay, that would be a transition move, and he just won. I'm like, okay. I don't think the crowd.
Yeah, I think even the crowd was like, oh, we have a new champion. He won. Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. No, it's interesting. So, Dragon Lee wins and takes the North American title from Dom. So interesting.
It's worth noting that I think this match is supposed to. Dragon Lee was a replacement. This was supposed to be Wesley, but he injured. I'm not sure how long he'll be out for, but this kind of indicates that maybe if it was Wesley, he was supposed to win this match. So, but yeah, it's interesting because they obviously like use main roster guys in NXT more also these days, and it can help. But yeah, so like obviously Dragon Lee will probably spend his time between SmackDown and NXT now. But this was a fine match to open on the show. I figured out of the ones on the card, this probably would open the show.
Yeah, I have to admit, there's two matches on here I skipped, so I can't really. Or one of them I just wasn't really paying attention, and the other one I just skipped completely just for time. I didn't watch much of Carmelo Hayes against Lexus King, aka Brian Pillman Jr. I didn't watch much of that, so I couldn't really comment. And then I skipped the cage match with Kiana James and Roxanne Perez. So I apologize, but I didn't see them. I watched the two Iron Survivors, and then I watched the main.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot to talk about with Camilo and Alexis King. I will say, it's like, I just heard it. I know AEW has a lot of talent, but like on the roster, but it's like, I don't know. And then, I know, and Brian Pillman Jr. hasn't had hasn't been in the business long, but like I just feel like they didn't even try with him. It was just he was just a dude. As much as I think he should be, Brian Pillman still, but like at least now he has a character, and he's shown that he's cutting a heel promo. He's a good heel and he cuts good promos. I was like, okay, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known you had this because you weren't going to have a chance to show this in AEW. You're just a dude. So it's kind of cool he's getting the shot. But it was basically this feud kind of centered around like he accused Camelo of attacking Trick Williams, which that's a storyline we'll probably get into as well later on in the show. That set up the match, and it was a decent back and forth. It was pretty short, but Lexus King got was able to get able to look good and get some of the stuff in, and did this heel work pretty well. It reminded me a bit of when remember like back in early 90s, but later. Remember when like Lex Luger came into WWE initially and he was like Narcissus?
The Narcissist, yeah, before he was like the All America guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of gives me vibes of that gimmick, but yeah. And then
it's like how they bring Steve Austin in from ECW and they give him that stupid ringmaster gimmick before he's Stone Cold. Yeah.
So but like he looked all right, but I don't think I mean it would have been cool, but like I don't think Camilo is like their top guy, and I think wouldn't surprise me within a couple of months if Camilo just goes to the main roster. He's already in that like US title tournament they got going on. So like because there was like one NXT person that was.
Well, again, he's one of those guys that it's like another guy we'll talk about in the Survivor thing that probably should be when they've had their long runs with the NXT title, you figure like they're ready for the main roster, right? Like they probably should.
I feel like it used to be like, okay, this person when someone won the NXT title and when they lost, you're like, okay, well they're going to the main roster. It almost was a given that once a person lost the NXT title, that that they don't stick around, they go to the main roster. But now sort of people stick around, like Braun Breaker, who's been there for fucking ages.
Who we both agree is more than ready for the main roster and should be on the main roster already.
I mean, some people are divisive. I think he's awesome.
I thought he was so great, especially we'll talk about it, but man, he was awesome in that match. He was so great. And I was like, this dude is a bona fide star because he's a combination of Goldberg and Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, which is what he should be. He's got the power of like a Goldberg type guy, but he can, do crazy Frankensteiners and big stuff. And he can move, but he's a big guy. But he's like the perfect look for a main roster guy, like he should absolutely be on the main roster. I have no idea why he still isn't. I predicted, if you remember, for the last Royal Rumble to be like a surprise Royal Rumble person, because I was like, that'd be a perfect place to come in and make a splash. You know what I mean? I still contend that this next Royal Rumble, he should still be in there and start screwing people.
I'm still going to predict that. I'm still going to predict that.
I'll do it again because he should do exactly what he did in that match, and we'll get to it. But he should come in and like spear like 5 dudes in a row, and like make a splash. That'd be great.
It's great. But I think. But basically, you didn't miss much in the Camilla match. It was a short, but it wasn't going to beat Camilla Hayes. But I think they're higher on Brian Pillman Jr. So I think he'll do well, and I actually think it's a gimmick that will probably get over on the main roster as well. So it was all right. It was what it was, but it wasn't set out to be a 5-star or anything like that.
Yeah, but we'll talk about the 2 Iron Survivor matches. So we had the women's one. So Blair Davenport won that one over Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. It was an interesting premise. I didn't see last year's. I guess they did some last year, these Iron Survivor matches. I didn't watch them, so I didn't know the premise.
The idea of the Iron Survivor match is kind of cool because it's basically the King of the Mountain had a baby with the championship scramble match.
Right. Yeah.
But you take the worst things out of King of the Mountain, which is that super reverse ladder bullshit.
I don't mind the concept of the penalty box in this one in that it makes sense because if somebody, let's say, hits a finisher and wins a fall, you can't just pin them again immediately. They have to go to the penalty box. You can't just take that person and do something else to him and just pin him over and over again, So I don't mind that concept of we don't just stop the match, but that person is ineligible to be pinned again for 90 seconds. You know what I mean? So I don't mind that as a concept. So I kind of liked it. And the fact that, it has a little Royal Rumble element to it with everybody entering every 5 minutes or whatever. It's kind of fun. I didn't mind the actual thing. A little bit of beat the clock. With a 25-minute limit. It was all right. It was cool.
We had Blair Davenport and first, can't remember who. It was Blair Davenport and
I think Kalani came out second. Am I right?
No, it was
No.
Someone good. Oh yeah, Fallon Henley.
Okay. I know
And
Stratton came out third, I think.
yeah, and you know, and obviously Blair Davenport, you probably know, is Will Ospreay's girlfriend, B Priestley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's not better known as B Priestley.
Hmm.
And and yeah, they had good. Then Tiffany Stratton came out. She's pretty over. I really like her gimmick. Um, and yeah, you know, I think everybody has mentioned this thing. I think if I had a negative, I think Kalani Jordan is a bit green for this match. I think she was she was the only one that, and I think they realized that she's rookie, so she's the only one that didn't get any points. She clearly I don't know whether that's just a gimmick they gave her, or she just is. She's clearly a fan of RVD. She did a few RVD things. She did that step over kick that he used to do, like her split legged moonsault. They literally call it one of a kind.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah. I mean, there were a couple of things that looked cool, but like obviously, it felt like obviously it was that choreograph that I've seen before. That there was that moment where they were doing that Tower of Doom spot, but obviously they were waiting for Lash Legend to get in the ring. And I feel like Lash Legend was taking longer than they were wanting him to. I'm like,
get in there. You got to be part of the spot. You got to be the person that pulls them over, right, and do the thing.
Yeah. But she's impressive with her strength. She's the one that lifted up Otis.
Yeah, they body slammed Otis. They got around. Yeah.
There was that one where Tiffany Stratton threw I think it's Fallon Henley off the little pod, and because there was a segment where the rest of Metaphor, which is Noam Star's group, that's what Lash is a part of, and they blocked the entrance, so they just climbed up, and there was a segment where Tiffany Stratton threw her off the pod onto the table, but you could tell that there was an awkward point where she was just like waiting because she wanted to. Obviously, she was waiting for Fallon Henry to get her footing right because
right.
But yeah, and then the moonsault off the she did a moonsault off the pod, which was cool. But then I think later on, like Kalani Jordan tried to moonsault and she overshot it, and she overshot it and nearly hit the announce table. And then even Vic Joseph was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Oh god." It's cool, fast paced sort of match. Like Lash Legend when Lash Legend got in, she immediately got like 2 falls, like pitting people on top of each other, the classic big person thing to do. And then I keep calling Rhea Priestley, but Blair Davenport caught up, and then was able to get the win. So she gets a title shot at New Year's Evil, presumably against the champion Lyra Valkyria, but I'm guessing we'll get to it. But it could be a triple threat match. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, totally. And and then we had the men's one where Trick Williams emerged victorious. Are
you surprised that they did one after the other, or like? Oh, was it one after the other? Yeah, it was.
No,
right?
I don't. No, they. Wasn't Carmelo in between?
No, it was like that was like. Yeah, I thought that was before. I don't know. Maybe it was one after the other. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I know the cage match was after this is the men's one.
Yeah, that was after this. But yeah.
Yeah, but Trick defeated it was Dijak, Braun Breaker, Tyler Bate, and Josh Briggs. The only one I wasn't familiar with in this match was Josh Briggs. I thought he was all right. Yeah, again, he doesn't have much of a character per se, but he's a big dude.
He's in a tag team where they're both rednecks with this guy named Brooks Jensen. Brooks Jensen, by the way, his dad is Bull Buchanan.
Okay.
So
should he just wrestle as Bull Buchanan Jr. and be second generation superstar?
I would if I was running this. Yes, I would. I'd say that. You should. Just
isn't Bull Buchanan like still kind of active as a wrestler on the indie circuit as well? Like,
I think he does, but the odd booking here and
there. Yeah, I think I've seen him booked around. He lives in Georgia, so he's been around Georgia here and there. Because I see him booked on indie shows occasionally.
I don't know why there's like insistence of like trying to hide like your lineage. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
trying to hide.
Well, they kept comparing him like to JBL in this match, like it's something to do with JBL. They're like Bradshaw really likes him. He sees a lot of himself in this guy. And then like right after they said that, he did a clothesline from hell, like pretty much right after.
It's like a big Texan dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because he's big. But yeah, I mean, everybody else, I was familiar with at least a little bit. Not as familiar with Trick, but I'd seen some clips and stuff. But yeah, that dude's really over right now.
He's really over.
Yeah.
And he's. We'll probably do the end of year awards maybe when everyone comes back in like January. But like he'd be my. He'd be up there as like most improved, because if you saw which is like that's what NXT should be for, like people who maybe a bit green and who improve dramatically,
or find a personality or find a character that gets over or whatever. Has good matches.
That kind of indicates that what you're doing is working, which is sometimes the case. So and it's working with Trick. I think the storyline with Trick and Camilla is working. But yeah, and I think the way they tell the story is good. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I love Dijak, but it's baffling how he's not worked out in the main roster. Like he's
got everything that they would want. He's like 6'6" or whatever. He's like shredded. He's a big guy who can do like moonsaults and big like high flying moves. He has a cool finisher. He has like a good look. Yeah, it's baffling how that guy is not like dominating the main roster right now. That's insane.
But they put him on the main roster, put a mask on him, and called him T-Bar.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Like he should be like I'm fine with him. He doesn't have to have. I know they're obsessed with giving everybody one name instead of two, so he can't be like Donovan Dijak or whatever. Or whatever. But like even as Dijak, I'm just saying like the guy can work. He's had those amazing matches with like Walter or or Keith Lee and all those great matches, like, and they kind of did that a little bit earlier a couple of years ago. But yeah, like that guy should be like that match he had with Ilya Dragunov was awesome. It was great early in the year. That was one of my favorite matches of the year so far. Like that guy is made for like to be a star. Like that dude has all the tools. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and then
But again, the same thing with the other people. Him, Trick, and Braun Breaker are all like made for like main roster success right now. But I mean, I understand Trick. You want to keep him around for a little while because he's still like working his way up or whatever. His character's over, but he probably still needs to at least work some more matches over the next year or so. Like I get that, but
Tyler Bate doesn't need to be in NXT.
No, Tyler Bate's been in NXT forever. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the size or something. I don't know what they're waiting on him for.
He's a guy that might be fortunate because, like, I don't think he'd. If Vince was still running everything, I think he'd be fired. Would have been fired by now, or like, or Vince would look at him and go, "Oh, he's small. We're not going to find him." But now that Triple H doesn't care as much, but and just sees that he's a really good wrestler and been actually being at like NXT UK takeovers where he's had really good matches. It's like, okay, I know how good you are.
No, but we both agree that, my God, it's long overdue for Braun Breaker to be on the fucking main roster. Like, that dude has an amazing look. He's big, but he's like fast. He's the son of a Steiner, like he's got the legacy. He's over with the crowd.
I don't know if you have seen him cut promos. He sounds like Rick Steiner. He sounds like
that's what I mean. He sounds like Rick and Scott. He can move like Rick and Scott, but he's big and strong and works kind of like a Goldberg type guy. But like he can also do those big moves when he needs to. Like, I mean, like, why is that guy not on the main roster? Like kicking ass right now. That's so like he could have so many matches and feuds with good people. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's baffling. Yeah, I'm once again like you going to predict him to make a Royal Rumble appearance this year because he should have last year. My God, he's already ready. Maybe he finally will now that he's like, I don't know. I guess he's gone heel again. At the time he was bait. I don't know. Maybe they'll finally use him in some way. But yeah, it'd be perfect. He goes in there just like he did in this match. Goes in the Royal Rumble, spears a bunch of dudes. Make a big impression. And throw a couple of guys out. That'd be perfect for him.
And maybe last to like the last 5 or something. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't have to win, but make a big impression, make something memorable out of him. Come in late, spear a bunch of dudes, chuck out a couple of notable guys. Get over, and then somebody else can win. But make that spot and transition to the main roster. For sure. But Trick won this thing, and with a nice spread at the end. It was good.
Yeah, the way they tell the story is really good. I thought like he had nothing, he had none for a while, And then
Yeah.
like he was taken out. He got spear. They love doing the spear through the barricade.
That's the most overused outside thing on the roster right now is the spear through the back. I mean, it was cool when they did it a few times back in the 2000s, but now it's like every person that does a spears somebody through the barricade. Yeah, it's kind of overused at this point. But yeah, somebody needs to spear somebody through the stage wall again, like Rhino did with Jericho. That's what'll get you over.
Yeah. So and I think he gets slammed through the table as well. It's like, oh no, yeah, the time's running out, and then in 30 seconds he gets a roll up on Dijak, who by the way gets pinned a lot in this match. I think there was one point in the match where he just came out of the penalty box and immediately got pinned again.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and then so and then like Dijak was going to get the pin on him, and then Eddie I guess this is a pet peeve of mine always when the babyface needs help to win, but like that's my only issue is like Dijak seems like he's going to win, then this guy Eddie Thorpe is really good. Came out because I guess him and Dijak are feuding, and then cost him, and then he got a pin there, so that was 2. He countered Tyler Bates' powerbomb and got a roll up there, and then and then it was and then him and Braun Breaker in the ring. He hit it, and he was going for a spear, hit his kick, and got and won just as the time was going out. So he won with 4 points. So and then I don't know if you noticed when he was celebrating in the background, Carmelo Hayes there, not looking thrilled for his friend. He was kind of had an evil look on his face. So
I see. So okay, well, yeah. So he will move on to New Year's Evil to presumably face Ilya Dragunov, who retained his title over Baron Corbin. I mean Baron Corbin, who's kind of got back up to the main event scene, at least since going back to NXT. Good move or bad move so far, Richie? Like overall, now that we've had some distance from it.
You mean Baron Corbin?
Baron Corbin, as far as like, was it a good move to kind of bump him back down to NXT, and now he's sort of a main guy in NXT?
I feel like, I feel like that. But I feel like he was. And it's nothing to do with like, it's nothing against him necessarily, because like I think he's done everything he's been asked to do, sort of thing. But it's just like he's been given like real like they're high on him, and then you think they're going to be given the grand push, and then they just do something silly with him. Like he won Money in the Bank, but then like he
famously flubbed the Money in the Bank. Yeah, cash.
It was one of the worst cash-ins ever. And then like he was made to look like an idiot when he was like the GM. And it was like, and then you heard stories like even Triple H was kind of struggling to get over it, finding him boring. And he had a gimmick where he was like with JBL, and they gave up on that. They just give up on him so much time. I think the best time with Baron Corbin was when he was in NXT the first time, when he was like Lone Wolf.
That was the last time I thought he was cool, when he had the long hair and he was the Lone Wolf. and I mean, spoiler alert for my thoughts on this match, but he's still boring, and I think he's boring in this match, and I think he bored the shit out of me in this match, and that's hard to do because I love Ilya Dragunov. Like that dude is so much fun to watch because I like his style, the way he wrestles, because he wrestles like he's in for the fight of his life every time he has one of these matches. He's just like fighting for his life and throwing everything he's got at somebody. That's why I loved both the match he had with Dijak, the last man standing match, because he was fighting for his life, and him and Carmelo Hayes beat the shit out of each other in the other show. What is it, like 2 months ago or whatever? They beat the hell out of each other and try to kill each other, and it was great. So when he's in there with the right guy, he can have amazing matches. But I thought Baron was just so damn boring in this match. Like
he's just got a style where it's like, okay, now we slow it down.
Slow it down, baby. He's nice and slow, and that's that that WWE style.
Like Brian Allen says, and we get a chin lock. Another chin.
Another armbar and a chin lock. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Dragunov tried, and again, I like him, but I'm way more looking forward to him and Trick Williams throwing down, because I guarantee you that'll be a million times better than this. Like a million times better. That's going to be a really exciting match, and I'm looking forward to that.
They're like the one things like he's got like Baron Corbin's got an annoying style, and then he hits you with a cool finishing move. Like,
yeah, and his end of days is awesome, and it looks great. But it's like, damn, yeah. I don't know.
And then I'm hoping it's like a story, but apparently in the NXT tapings, like the NXT episode coming out, like he has a match with Ridge Holland, and he gets he got injured. He might have got injured. They stretched him like out because he had. Well, if he is, that's I feel bad for Ridge Holland, man. I don't know. He might be the male Nia Jax, because he's the guy that he's the guy that suplexed Big E.
Broke his neck. Yeah.
He almost injured Johnny Gargano at one point. I mean, if he's not injuring other people, he's injuring himself. There was one you can watch. There was one time when he caught like Biff Busick, Oney Lorcan. Well, he was trying to catch Oney Lorcan, and then his ankle gave out, and you could hear him just fucking scream. So yeah, he's very accident prone. Or causing accidents, so it's unfortunate. But I'm hoping maybe they're playing off that, and maybe he's going to be, because he is turning heel on TV. So maybe I don't know. They could play. It is weird if you play off that, and he's actually just generally unsafe. Then you might be, playing with fire there. But well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm hoping Elia's all right, and but he's another guy like. Obviously, like, if he has a match with Trick, wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think it might be a bit too early. Like, maybe they have a series of matches and then Trick finally gets them. But yeah, once Ilya loses, he should cut to the main roster too. He shouldn't be.
There's three guys, that are definitely ready for the main roster. Yeah, Dijak, Braun, and Ilya, I think, are all more than enough ready for the main roster and would really spice it up a little bit. Yeah, no matter what brand they go to. But obviously, I think I've always contended that obviously Dragunov should be the guy to beat Gunther for the title because they never had their third match. Damn it, they never had the rubber match. Gunther won one, Ilya won one. God damn it, they need to settle it on a big stage. It needs to happen, and they need to throw it out again. They have the history built in, and it would be cool. And I think everybody would go, "Oh yeah," and it'd be great. Like, so, yeah. Whether he does it as NXT champion or not, I still contend that should happen at some point. But who knows? Yeah.
But yeah. So no, I think overall, I mean, I'll just briefly touch the cage matches. I mean, I'll just say, the cage matches is fine. It's a decent match. Kiani James wins because this a new woman to NXT, Izzy Dame, comes in and I guess is like her kind of psychic now, and slams the door on Roxanne's face, and then she gets hit with a chair and then gets a pin. But yeah, it's all good. Roxy is probably one of their bigger stars, so she's probably going to be. She's another one, and she, Booker T's was one of those. Booker T's always high up on her because he trained her, but and she's another one that's probably, she's former Ring of Honor Women's champion. I feel like I don't know what she's still doing there. It's like she was in the Royal Rumble this year. I thought maybe she would be out by now, but and she's got a lot of upside, so. I don't know, and Kiani James is right, but she's got the same sort of gimmick as Tiffany Stratton, and I think Tiffany Stratton's better. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I don't know. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot to say about that one. I will say, in regards to Booker T and also Trick Williams, I think, but if you watch the other shows, Booker T, when Trick Williams does go out to the main roster, I almost feel like Booker T should be they should shove around the commentary team and put Booker T on commentary on the main roster, just because I think Booker T adds to his whole character, just because when Trick comes out, he always does the oh yeah yeah, I like it. Yeah, and I think it makes him look cooler because he's bumping along to it. So
cool. That was NXT Deadline. Yeah, not a bad show with some fun stuff on it. So yeah, I'm glad we got to check it out, and it helped me kind of get caught up on a few of the personalities there. So I appreciated that. But yeah, let's get to kind of our second part of the show here. We spun which, by the way, that reminds me, while we're doing this, I need to make our next wheel for our next show, kind of in the background. No, you're good. We watched ECW's Massacre on 34th Street. We put several end of the year December shows on a wheel. Me and Richie did, we're kind of going to cover, the three promotions essentially we did. Like I said, so Survivor Series retro review. We're doing kind of an ECW end of the year retro review. Next week we're going to do a Starrcade review, which we'll get to that at the end of the show. But yeah, this one was at, ECW's Massacre on 34th Street for December. And this was from December 3rd. 2000 from the Hammerstein Ballroom, which would become a pretty recognizable venue for ECW, especially here in 2000 and late 2001. Obviously, this would be the venue for tonight, but also the venue for their final pay-per-view the next month at Guilty Charge 2001, become kind of the final big pay-per-view they would ever. Not their final show overall. They did one or two house shows after that. But yeah, it was the final televised show, essentially. And then famously would become the venue, this Hammerstein Ballroom Richie, for ECW One Night Stand 2005 and 2006 for the reunion show. So, so pretty good little video. I've always liked the way this venue looks, too. I just like the balcony, the different level balcony. The way it just kind of looks with everything in the middle, and the crowds were always hot at the at the Hammerstein here. The crowd was hot for this. Crowd was hot for the final pay-per-view. Crowd was hot for this One Night Stand show. So they always had a good crowd here at the Hammerstein. So we kind of started with a quick Steve Corino promo in the back. Talks about some former New York champions like Bruno Sammartino and whatnot, Pedro Morales, things like that. I didn't write down everything he said, but he's kind of being a goofball, sort of insider terms here and there,
with Jack Victory going, do your thing up, and he's talking about high spots, but then there's a weird moment where they get quiet because they don't mute the audio of the ring announcer go, please welcome Joe Gertner and Joey.
Because they're just probably in a room right behind the curtain or something like that. Cutting this promo and you can hear everything. So you can hear a little bit of that going on. Speaking of Joel Gertner, we go to the ring for Joey Styles and Joel Gertner doing his usual dirty promo to open the show. Again, I didn't really write down his specific lines. It's a whole bunch of Asian jokes, masturbation and penetration and whatnot, a bunch of different stuff with this promo. Again, I didn't write down all of the lines, but the crowd likes him. He does his thing, and it's fine. And he would join Joey as color commentator for the first match, but thankfully be replaced by Cyrus by the second match, because I like Joey Styles and Cyrus, Richie, much better than Joey Styles and Joe Gertner.
I did like how initially when all right. I initially when Cyrus got in a place to be, he was like, oh, and Joe starts like, oh, what are you doing here? And he never answered and we never found out. But I'm like, well, he's always your replacement. Why don't you know why?
He always comes out and joins you for commentary at some point. So that shouldn't be.
Why were you confused? Anyway.
I maybe he didn't think he was actually at the show. Who knows? But we get our first official match of the evening as kind of an upcoming tag team that unfortunately never got a lot of big chance to really get over near the end of ECW, but a good tag team nonetheless. Chris New York and Joey Matthews here defeat Johnny Swinger and Simon Diamond. Johnny Swinger, who's still wrestling in Impact, by the way, right?
That's funny. You wouldn't notice that he's that charismatic here, but he's got a he's he's in his probably early 50s at this point, and he's really funny. He just plays this old school 80s sort of jobber guy, and he's very funny. He's quite funny, and he's probably doing his best work. I'm going to be honest.
But kind of before the match is about to get started, Dawn Marie makes her way out to the ring, and we get sort of a situation much like Terry Runnels in the Tit Tournament, as she says she's got a contract for her managerial services, and whoever wins this match will get her services.
Basically have sex with her.
Hey, it's the services, Richie. It's the wrestling managerial services and any other services that entails. Okay, so. She basically implies that yes, I'll have sex with both of you. We get this match. Not a long match. Just mostly just a couple of spots within about 5 or 6 minutes or so. York and Matthews hit a Future shock powerbomb fairly early, but don't get it. Swinger misses the top rope clothesline. We get a little hot tag to Joey Matthews. There's a couple of dives to the outside from York and Matthews, hitting some nice little springboard dives. There's a Simonizer to Joey Matthews, a sunset bomb for a couple of near falls, and eventually Matthews and York hit the Rebel Yell, their double team, to win. So they go to get the services of Dawn, but she turns on them and goes with Simon Diamond instead.
So two things.
Yes,
and this match is fine. It was good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Good opener, but it's good opener. But like, and there's one that was annoying me throughout the. It's one of those pet peeves with like ECW where like they always still have to do ref distractions, even though like why?
There's no even though there's no rules.
You have to distract the ref, but also you use a steel chair right in front of his face. So I don't understand.
Yeah, it's the weird thing with ECW, and that is like that's a legitimate complaint, especially with a lot of the ref stuff. It's like they'll do like a choke in the corner. It's like, why is he counting? You know, is he going to disqualify you for if you don't break the hold in the corner? You know what I mean? You know, there's no DQs. So what are we doing here? Yeah.
And the second thing is, if she was going to turn, if the whole idea was a swerve and she was going to turn him in the first place, why didn't they just if it was logic's sake, why didn't she just help him win? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she just pulls the swerve anyways, or why didn't she just come out during their promo and say, "Hey, I want to manage you guys"? I'm sure they wouldn't have said no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
You have to look. I don't want you to win. You know what? Yeah, she wants to get with the losers for some reason.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you guys lost your match, by the way. So let me get with these losers who just lost in the middle of this ring. But anyways, yeah, I mean, okay opener, not much to say. You know, kind of a typical quick ECW opener here. But we then get into our first of kind of a double match here because it would lead to one of the notorious ECW impromptu matches because we got many people out for this one. But Easy Money, accompanied by the gaggle of Hot Commodity. It's Elektra, Confederate Curtis, and Chris Hamrick, and Julio De Niro taking on Balls Mahoney, the chair swinging freak. This is where Cyrus finally joined commentary, by the way, and his microphone didn't work for a minute, so we didn't get to hear
I thought that. I legit thought that was like, I didn't think that. I thought that was a planned thing because, like, he's like,
I don't think so. I think it's just typical ECW problems. But I will say there was weird stuff on here, Richie, and you probably noticed it as well, where there was clear stuff where Joey Styles recorded stuff ADR later over the copyrighted music that they could not play because when they play a generic song, they also have to mute the crowd and the original audio. So there was weird spots where, like, especially after a match, post-match, they'd be playing a song, and Joey Styles would, in a completely almost different, not a different voice per se, still Joey, but like in a different tone and like a volume would be like, and so and so wins the whatever match and goes on to da da da. It's like really weird, like ADR stuff.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention when like Joel Gertner was out was like, you know how like and Brian Vinny talked about this a lot, but like how it's always like at the most embarrassing or sort of the most like edgy thing where someone walks into the room that you don't want to. It's like and he's like talking about the sexual innuendo, and then they're like Makira walks in who's like probably on the elderly side, just like talks about him like jizzing on people's faces and stuff.
Yeah,
just like but anyway, this I'll figure that out later. I don't know what she's eating, but whatever.
She's eating something.
Probably. I don't know.
What are you eating back there? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hopefully nothing important. Yeah.
Anyway. Mute my phone.
No, go ahead. This match, Easy Money's a guy I kind of like near the end here. Him and Julio De Niro, they had some good little characters. Easy Money's just kind of a stripper gimmick. He's got like a G-string on. They have a little back and forth here. Balls early hits a backdrop driver, looked pretty good for a 2 count. Balls Mahoney went to the top rope and splashed all of Hot Commodity from the top rope. He missed the New Jersey Jam, which allowed Easy Money to kind of take over and hit a money clip for a 2 count. There's a superplex. Easy Money hit a really nice sit out sunset flip, and well, he actually kind of Balls went for a sunset flip. Easy Money actually picked him up and hit what almost looked like a Jig and Tonic from Jigsaw. Looked pretty cool. Yeah. Kind of squashed him for a 2 count. Balls is able to hit a super kick. But then, of course, again, behind the referee's back, although not necessary, Hot Commodity just did like this triple team on Balls while Electra was distracting the referee. Again, why do you need to hide that?
You can just attack him. Who cares?
Yeah, because Julio De Niro hits like a neck breaker. Chris Hamrick hit his Confederate Crunch, and then Easy Money finished him off with a moonsault, and they pinned Balls Mahoney to get the win.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was going to say is because of the copyright bullshit, like it's like you get a shitty version of
Big Balls by AC/DC.
Yeah, just like, and then you can kind of hear the crowd chanting along, but they're muted. They're kind of toned down. And you're like, this is and then like sometimes the crowd, because it turned out, sometimes the crowd sounds like what they would sound like in the video games. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, just like
it's just noise. Yeah, it's weird. and even they even do that. Yeah, on some of the WWE shows, there's that random girl that screams in the stock footage noise, and it has weird stock footage noise. But anyways, back to the match. So Easy Money gets the win. Hot Commodity starts triple teaming Balls Mahoney, but Supernova makes the save. Muscled up Nova, as he's been working out lately. He kind of makes the save, starts going to work on some of the guys. And then, yes, as ECW is known to do, Richie, we get a referee just jumps in there and makes a match, an improv match. You two are in the ring. So Nova and Julio De Niro are in the ring. All right, you two have a match now. And so we have a match.
It's either like the person to come out. It's either Nova, New Jack, or sometimes Kid Cash as well.
Which did happen later. But yes, we get a little another quick match here between Nova and Julio De Niro. Although at least at this time, Balls Mahoney is kind of there to watch Nova's back and keep the other guys off of him for the most part. Nova hits a sledge-o-matic early. Hamrick hit a gigantic springboard dropkick. My God, that dude used to get so much air on his dropkick. Holy crap. He jumped 85 feet in the air on this damn springboard dropkick. Holy shit. That was one thing. I always liked Chris Hamrick, but he didn't get to stick around for very long, unfortunately, and then kind of went to the Indies. He was in XPW for a little while. But yeah, he would get massive air, much like Kid Cash would. He'd get massive air on the springboards. Holy shit. But yeah, he had his giant springboard, again, behind the referee's back, but who cares? Just do it. Nice hard enziguri from Nova to the back of the head. Julio De Niro hit a jumping super kick on Nova, and then Electra starts to get involved, and Nova flat out just gives her the kryptonite crunch and lays her out because, as usual in ECW, Richie, violence against women, yay!
We'll see it, and it's not the only one in the show.
Yay! So he lays out Electra literally with his finishing move. Balls lays out several of the other guys with a chair, and then eventually Nova gets a big swanton bomb on Julio and pins Julio De Niro. So yeah, your thoughts on kind of this double match? I know you're kind of distracted for a second, but it was kind of one big segment with Hot Commodity and Nova and Balls all kind of have these little matches here.
Yeah, it's sort of like just like, the heels got one over on the babyface, but the babyface get
their comeuppance. Yeah, they get back.
It's even Stevens booking in one night.
Yeah, for sure. No, so we get that whole again, it's an ECW show, so it all kind of flows one into another, but which is fine. That happened a lot especially on the early parts of the card on ECW. They didn't do a lot of these impromptu matches on like the later part of the cards, but yeah, a lot of these early matches will sometimes kind of flow from one segment, into the next thing, which is fine. We get a quick, we cut to the back. We get a quick Rhino promo. Something that WWE never let him do was cut promos. So it was weird to see Rhino cutting a promo here.
He wasn't bad. Like, I don't know why they didn't cut promos.
I mean, his basic thing is, I'm really intense and I'm mad and I slam my head against the door every now and then, or hit the door with my fist, or grr. But he wasn't bad. Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah.
But they never let him talk in WWE. I don't remember him cutting a lot of promos in WWE.
I'm going to mention something too about there was a vignette I swear to God, I had to work out at the end of the show if I was seeing things. I swear, was there one of these segments with the Baldies getting off a train?
Yes, so it was weird because technically, when I looked up the results of the show, there was a pre-show thing where New Jack beat up the Baldies. As he was one to do on a lot of the shows in 2000, where he just had brawls with the Baldies and would beat them up, and do a dive. So that did happen before the pay-per-view, but they played the promo for the match near the end of the show.
Near the end of the show, like, hey, we're going to cause violence.
We're the Baldies, and we're going to get violent in NYC.
Not on the show.
And then not on the show. Yeah, that was weird. But the best part of that was, if you go back and watch the promo, the best part is watching the people that are not involved in just the regular subway goers in the background of the video.
I noticed that. Because they're not extras. It's literally
just people on the they would just go to the subway. Yes, there was a lady who you could see, like an older lady, being like, "What the hell is going on?" Yeah, because they literally step off the subway as what they did with the cameraman, basically, and they just cut this promo. But I mean, I remember things where New Jack would cut a promo on the subway, like literally on the subway car, like as they were just going, he would just stand up and cut a promo in front of the camera. So I mean, I guess there's weirder things that happen, in wrestling than somebody just, or I should say in New York City on a subway, than people cutting wrestling promos, So, it's not that unusual, especially for New York City. You get people that sing on the subway, you get people that do, goofy shit. So there's worse things. But we get match number 4 here after the Rhino promo for the tag team titles. And the sort of story around this one is that Doring and Roadkill have said they will split up as a team if they do not win the tag team titles here. So little extra added stakes here. But we got Danny Doring and Roadkill, who was another team that was really coming up here, and I thought kind of botched even with the WWE ECW. Like, they should have been used in that run, and I don't understand why, because they're already established tag team. They're a lot of fun to watch, and I think they would have fit right in. Or at least with WWE ECW in that little initial run there, they only used them 2 or 3 times.
I feel like Roadkill especially was like, maybe he was around at the wrong time. I feel like if he came up now, they like
he'd be way over. Yeah,
because we like big athletic dudes. And
I guess just wrong place, wrong time. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't use these guys, but yeah, they were established. They were good wrestlers. But yeah, they're facing off against the FBI, Tony Mamaluke, Little Guido, with Big Sally Graziano, they claim 600-pounder, but I definitely think that dude's about 450 tops. He's not as big as Yokozuna. Okay, let's relax. All right, he moves faster than him. But yeah, so it's a nice back and forth here at the beginning with Guido and Doring, trading some nice counters and submissions and whatnot. Pretty fast paced back and forth. We get some double teams on the FBI. Tony counters a nice wheelbarrow into a bulldog that looked pretty good. That Roadkill tried to hit on him, and he hit a bulldog instead. That looked pretty great. Again, all these guys really good workers, so it was a pretty solid match here. Tony Mamaluke did a dive onto the floor, but instead of a crossbody, he turned it into a tornado DDT on Roadkill. Yeah. That looked pretty awesome. That looked great. Then they get back in the ring, put some heat on Doring for a little while. Guido hits a Sicilian slice for a 2 count. He hits Danny Doring with the belt, which you think is going to be the 3, but Doring's able to get out of it and kick out. There was a scary spot near the end. That kind of led into the finish where Mamaluke was on the apron. Danny Doring super kicked him, and he flew way off the apron and almost landed right on the guardrail and then spilled into the first row. That was really scary. He damn near killed himself on that damn thing. Tony Mamaluke damn near killing himself there. But in the meantime, back in the ring, they're able to grab a hold of Guido and hit the boogie bang for the 3 count. So they actually do win the tag team titles, and they do not have to split up Richie as a tag team, because they would go on to defend them against, I believe, Easy Money and Julio Dinero, at Guilty as Charged. And they would end up being the very final ECW tag team champions. So, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Like you said, these guys are really good workers. I don't know if it was this match, but there was one match where I saw a sign in the crowd that just said, "I'd rather watch paint dry." It's like, why would you bring it to a wrestling?
There was just one asshole that kept putting it up for the first 2 or 3 matches, and then I think finally people around him were probably like, "Dude, you're an asshole. Like, stop. Knock it off." I'd rather be watching ECW than paint dry.
Yeah. I don't know, but
and there wasn't even anything bad going on. There's no matches on this show where I would go, I'd rather be watching paint dry. I can at least say that.
There was no Big Show versus Batista.
Right, yeah, change the channel match or anything like that. Yeah, right.
So no, this match was really good. Yeah, I feel like I think all these guys are underrated. Like, I know, so yeah, I like, I think Little Guido definitely is an underrated worker. If you, one of the best velocity matches was him and Super Crazy.
Well, again, wasn't it also weird that they would have an FBI later in WWE with Guido, but like they didn't have Tony Mamaluke? Like that was just weird. It was like Johnny the Bull and
Chuck Palumbo.
Yeah, like what, you couldn't work in Tony Mamaluke in there somewhere and just have them, like, Guido's not a big guy. They weren't big guys. It's like, it's fine. Like I don't know. He's a good worker. It was always weird to me.
Yeah. So this match was solid. Probably, I would say it was my favorite up until this point.
The best match up to this point in the show, and I think the show definitely was kind of better in the second half than it was in the first half. We definitely pick up some steam here. We cut to the back for Spike Dudley's promo, and I love the opposite promo just going like, Rhino, fuck you, man. That's basically the start of the promo. Just fuck you, man. And he starts naming off some of the giants that he's beaten. Bam Bam Bigelow, Curtis Hughes, 911. A couple of guys basically just kind of putting over that he's like sort of a giant killer and he's not afraid of Rhino, essentially. It was a quick little promo. And then we cut to match number 5, which was C.W. Anderson defeating Tommy Dreamer.
I like this match a lot.
This match was great, and these guys are having 2 great matches because the I Quit match they have on the final pay-per-view, Guilty as Charged, is really good as well. It's a really good I Quit match. And this is kind of the beginning of it. They're kind of a little bit of a feud here. This match was great. It kind of they start off with some wrestling work in the ring. Anderson's kind of working over Tommy's arm a little bit. There's a bit with the arm where he wraps Tommy's arm around the ring post inside of a chair and then hits the chair into the other chair. Again, trying to work him over. They brawl into the crowd a little bit. C.W. Anderson hit a nice kind of delayed vertical suplex on the floor on Tommy. He does another head scissor armbar in the ring, trying to get the win via submission. There's a few back and forth sort of false finishes here. Anderson hitting some elbow drops, a spine buster. Eventually, Louis Dangerously, which was signed Guy Dudley, who eventually became the character of Louis Dangerously, comes in, hits Tommy Dreamer in the back of the head with the cell phone. But then the real Paul Lee Dangerously, Paul Heyman, comes in and hits Louis Dangerously with his cell phone as well. Kind of the actual real spot there. Tommy's able to hit a Spicoli driver, which I thought might have been the finish, but C.W. Anderson kicks out of that before the 3 count. He hits his chair drop kick in the Tree of Woe on C.W. over there. Dreamer hits a pile driver. They bring in a table. Hit a side slam on the table. They don't actually set up the table. He just lays out the table on the canvas and doesn't set it up. There's a superplex onto the table. Again, not set up, just the table laying in the middle of the ring for a near fall. And the finish comes when they set up the table in the corner, kind of leaning up against the corner. But before they hit the finish, C.W. Anderson flips it backwards, upside down to where the leg parts are exposed, pulls one of the legs out, props it up, and then hits a spine buster on Tommy Dreamer through the exposed, I guess, leg part of the table in the corner and pins him. Yeah, that was an early spot. That was a crazy thing. Like that was nuts. But yeah, this was a really intense match. Crowd got really into it. Yeah, some nice brawling. Again, some really good stuff. Crowd's really into Tommy, and CW really kind of establishing himself here. And another guy that was really underused that I think could have been used in WWE. They got used like twice and never again, which is ridiculous.
I felt that they were setting it like, had ECW gone on, I think they were setting him up to be like a future ECW champion.
Oh, for sure. No, I think they liked him a lot. Yeah.
I think like he was going to probably win the title soon. Like, not just your random person gets to beat Tommy Dreamer on ECW, right.
But
yeah, no, this was great. That great hard hitting match. I guess the only weak spot I like the how it's unique and different. How the table's on the ground, but the side slam looks really kind of, it was underwhelming just because of that. But they made up for it with the spike buster. But yeah, it was just I was like, oh, that's a. Oh, you got the table out for the side, just a random side.
No, but then they did the superplex, and that was cool. Like that was
That
a
was
cool.
cool, but the side slam initially was shit. It was
right. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, the match was really cool, and I think C.W. Anderson's one of the more underrated wrestlers I've in the business that I've seen. He should have been a much bigger star.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, if you haven't seen their the match they have on the final pay-per-view, the I Quit match, that match is really good too, and just as violent and stuff, and some good stuff there. So yeah, I recommend that one as well. But yeah, good start there. Some nice matches here in the middle. We go on to our TV title match, as it is Rhino versus Spike Dudley. I mean, this one kind of starts out with Spike using his kind of speed and his counters to kind of get around Rhino, working on his leg a little bit, countering everything that he has, kind of spills to the outside. Rhino did sort of an electric chair toss where he tossed Spike kind of face first onto the announcer's table, really high in the air. That looked pretty cool. There's some chair uses here and there. People getting hit kind of left and right. They brawl into the crowd. Spike gets up off the balcony and does a big crossbody off the balcony onto Rhino, which was always good.
I think that's always a given if you're at the Hammerstein Ballroom. He's going to jump off the balcony.
Yeah, somebody's got to jump off the balcony, and yes, Spike Dudley did, in fact, jump off the balcony. They do some. They did the spot that they used to do with Spike a lot, and would do many more times in WWE, where he goes for the acid drop on Rhino, but Rhino just holds him in the position, walks him over to the other side of the ring, and tosses him out of the ring onto the announcer's table. That was great. Always a good spot there that they would repeat at WrestleMania. They would repeat at SummerSlam, I think, at one time with Spike. He was constantly getting thrown out of there off that ass drop onto a table on the outside. Yeah, that didn't always work out for him. So Rhino hits a gore in the middle of the ring, but Spike's able to roll out, so he doesn't get pinned. Eventually, Spike comes back a little bit by he uses some tape to tape Rhino's leg around the ring rope, and then hits him a couple times with the chair, and then kind of out of nowhere he's doing this, and then Rhino just grabs him and puts him in like kind of a rear naked choke and chokes out Spike Dudley for the win, kind of out of nowhere. And then Spike Dudley proceeds to throw up all over the ring. So I don't know what's going on there, if he had a concussion or something and threw up. I don't know. Maybe he's talked about this in an interview, but
they still went ahead and did the outer spot where he's hitting him with chairs.
He's hitting with a chair over and over again, right in the back of the head, which was gross. Yeah, that was the one thing where I was like, I don't think that was necessary. I think you made your point. Because he keeps going after him with a chair. I think he was literally supposed to do something to Spike, but I think Spike might have been out. That's why he picked up randomly Mike Keener, one of the referees, and ran him, kind of did his running spear through the table in the corner.
I thought for a minute there he's just going to set up another. After he did that, I thought he was going to set up another table, put the other referee through it. There was 3 referees there.
Right.
I thought.
I forgot to change this, by the way. There we go.
I thought this. It's a great Spike match. I mean this as well, but I think it'd be. It looked like and obviously I think it'd be fun to throw Spike around. Honestly, I just.
Yeah, there was a great match, Richie, where and I remember when they were doing their they were into the Invasion era of Brian and Vinny doing the retro reviews, and there was a match where Albert and Spike had a match, but they were like, but everything Albert did to him like looked brutal, but it was all safe. Like it was one of those things where he was like tossing them all, he did like the big Beal, across the ring, and he's doing all these moves to him, but everything's like completely safe. And Brian just goes like, this Albert, I like this guy, he's a big guy, he's safe, I like him. And Spike did all his big stuff, but it was all nice. But yeah, there's just compilations, Richie, of Spike just getting mauled and destroyed, and getting thrown out of the ring, and getting thrown all over the place. And I mean he does take very good bumps, and he does get thrown around like a rag doll a lot. Some a little more safer than others, but some of them pretty brutal.
One of the more gnarly ones I've seen, it's not even him getting in being on the getting a bump himself, but it was, and I think maybe this dude was meant to go all the way through it, but I think as like Vengeance 2002, I believe it was Bubba and Spike versus Benoit and Eddie, and he actually hits a Dudley Dog through the table, but what Eddie doesn't actually go all the way through the table. He just hits the table with his throat. Oh my god!
Yeah.
They countered it, but my god, that looked bad.
Yeah, no, some of the stuff they did to him looked pretty bad, but yeah, I mean, always kind of fun to watch in a morbid, weird way. But yeah, Rhino retains the TV title. He would retain it all the way to the end of the ECW run, and in fact, on the way, pick up the heavyweight title from Sandman on the final pay-per-view as well. It would be not only the last TV champion, but the last heavyweight champion in ECW.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to Sandman.
Yeah, we'll get to Sandman. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, we cut back to another Steve Corino and Jack Victory vignette. This time,
this was funny?
Was this Francine or was it somebody else? I couldn't tell.
I thought it was Dawn Marie again.
It wasn't Dawn. It was somebody else.
Okay.
I don't know who it was. I couldn't tell if it was Francine or not because Francine came out later in a completely different outfit and whatnot. I don't know. There's some girl, I forget who it was, comes in to warm Carino up, as she says, before his match. But he said he already warmed himself up. He already took care of himself earlier. So he puts it off and says, Jack, hey, go put Jack Victory over. Go get yourself over, Jack, with the girl. So Jack is very excited. But go ahead, Richie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then he got jealous, and he's like, "No, I need to get over it."
No, never mind. I need to get myself over. Screw that. I gotta forget Jack getting over. I gotta get myself over, and he runs. He goes to run after Jack, but just Incredible jumps in from behind with a kendo stick and hits him several times and kind of jumps him and kind of cuts a quick little promo on him after he hits him with the kendo stick. But no, Carino was very funny here.
Even Carino's mannerism when he's getting hit with the kendo stick. Ow!
Damn it! Ow! Shit! Ow! No, he was being very over exaggerated. Yeah, it was very, very funny. Yeah, I forgot how funny Carino was. I remember Carino mostly for when he would go to like Ring of Honor or stuff and have those extended entrances with his own ring announcer. When he would just have these really, really long, drawn out, intros where they give him like 50 nicknames and, list all of his accomplishments and all that. There's a famous one. I think you can still see it online where it's like 10 minutes long where he had the NWA Florida Championship and they named all the NWA Florida champions in the entire legacy. And so it was Bobby Cruz going and, champions such as, and he proceeds to name like 100 people in the entire legacy. And eventually got to the point where the crowd was just booing or yaying the wrestler that he named. So it'd be like Dusty Rhodes, yay! Lex Luger, boo! It'd be like Ron Bass, yay! It just listed everybody, and it took like 10 minutes. You can still watch it online. I think it's on there somewhere. It's really, really funny. But yeah, and Carino just kind of sitting in the corner, just listening. Very, very funny.
His son wrestles now, and he's good.
Colby Carino. Yeah. I think doesn't Steve still semi wrestle sometimes?
Yeah. I think Steve Carino. I think he either works in AEW or WWE as like a backstage dude. But
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought. Did you ever watch? I think we referenced it before, but like when it was because it was one of it was really popular back in the day. But like, did you listen to Between the Ropes? So it was Brian Fritz, Vito and Dick, but it was a Chicago there. Yeah, but they always have that when they have Carino on, it was always great because he would just tell these funny stories. So he would tell us like one story where maybe where he shit himself in the ring, but like the way he would describe it was really funny. So it's like, he kicked me in the stomach. He kicked me in the stomach, and my ass threw up.
I have some kind of DVD, ROH DVD with Steve Carino. I don't know if it's like a straight shooting or him just like telling stories. It might just be him telling stories. I remember being a pretty good watch. Dude was very funny. We moved on to our other tag team match of the evening, as it was the Unholy Alliance with the Sinister Minister, Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck defeating Super Crazy, and at the time at the beginning of the match, a mystery partner, whoever he wanted, and it was Kid Cash, coming out a little late for the match, by the way. Coming out like 4 minutes after they're beating up on Super Crazy for a few minutes. I'm like, why didn't you just come out immediately after Super Crazy? Okay, you're a little late there, buddy. But all right, but he gets out there eventually. I always liked Whipwreck and Tajiri, this tag team with Sinister Minister. I always thought they were cool, and Mikey, changing his hair to like long hair and kind of fiery red, and the different outfit he did. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Mikey and Kid Cash are in there first. They had some really good back and forth kind of lucha style counters and back and forth. A really good like kind of opening segment. They got them like a nice applause break and a standing ovation. That was good. Tajiri and Super Crazy then tag in and also have a really good back and forth. Obviously, those guys wrestled a lot over like 2 years and had many matches. So just did their thing and kind of back and forth. There's a Super Crazy hits a ridiculous top rope Acai moonsault to the outside because he always kind of like spun backwards in midair and then did the moonsault on the top, which was great. And then followed up with Kid Cash stepping up over the referee into the springboard flip on the outside. He always got ridiculous air too.
This was crazy. Oh yeah.
No, Kid Cash was amazing every time he would do the springboards. He got a ton of air. So that was really, really fun. There was a nice spot, a couple double team spots with the Unholy Alliance, where there's one where they had him in a sharpshooter kind of in the ropes, and Tajiri dropped a guillotine leg on him. That was pretty cool. I like that. They sandwiched Kid Cash in some chairs kind of on the apron and did like a double drop kick. That looked pretty gnarly. Got a big reaction there. They kind of double team Kid Cash for a little while. Mikey hits a top rope whippersnapper onto two open chairs in the middle of the ring. That was a good spot. But then the next spot was weird because he then does it again to the outside onto the announcer's table. But like, I don't see the point of that because Mikey's the only one who really kind of went to the table. I guess that he hits the whippersnapper, but Kid Cash made no contact with the table whatsoever. It's just Mikey basically sitting out on the table and hitting the whippersnapper. But I guess it's so he doesn't bust his own ass doing it. So I guess it makes sense. Kid Cash does a really awesome top rope hurricanrana to Mikey Whipwreck through an outside table, kind of in the entranceway. That was great. That was a nutty spot. Back in the ring, Tajiri hits kind of a 3-kick combo to Super Crazy's face. And the finish comes where it's Tajiri and Super Crazy. He puts him, he lays out Super Crazy, puts a couple of chairs on top of his head, then sets up an open table over him, and then double stomps the table through the chairs. And that was nuts for a finish. And that got a great reaction. And that was a great spot. And that's the win. So, pretty crazy, fast-paced, nutty matchup to this point, Richie. Pretty nuts.
I like all four of these dudes. I think Mikey Whipwreck's story is always really cool. Like a dude that was sort of just part of the ring crew back in the 90s, and then it became quite a good wrestler, and he's trained a lot of the would be future wrestlers too. And
wasn't he fired from like a WWE tryout for being too good or something?
There was something about that, yeah.
Something kind of he had he had like one match, and they said he was too good, or even that, or TNA, whatever it was. They said he was too good, and they didn't let him wrestle anymore. I was like, what? He stole the show, so they fired him.
What an ups. Yeah, you got too much upside. We
can't use you.
It
was WCW. He went to WCW for a little while. He had a match with somebody. That one match he had, I forget who it was against, in like '99, and because then he came back to ECW, and they said he was too good, and he stole the show, and so they fired him. That's what it was. It was like '99.
What? Yeah. I know. Yeah,
I don't get that.
WCW never knew people that they had, the talent that they had sometimes.
Right.
But this is great. All four of these guys are great. Yeah, and I think, Tajiri, I'm pretty sure is still wrestling.
Occasionally in Japan, right? The last time we saw him kind of in the States, I guess, or WWE, it was the Cruiserweight Classic, which was cool to see him in that. When they brought him back for that, that was cool. One of my favorite things to come out of that, Richie, was they did an exclusive thing on WWE.com where he ran into William Regal again.
Yeah.
Like in the offices, and like he comes through the door. Regal's like talking to the secretary or something, doing something, and you hear like the door open, and it's Tajiri, and he sees William Regal and just starts going, and William Regal goes, "Oh no, oh no, 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 no," and then he eventually like hugs him, where he's like, "Oh, okay, but it's great to see you too." You know, and again, I like when they acknowledge the past. That's all.
Yeah. It's great. But yeah, I feel like when we talk about like people maybe like outliers, I mean like outsiders that we don't really think of for like this distinction, but like if you told me like, oh yeah, Tajiri's in the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't bet an eye. I'm like, yeah, I think he deserves to be
Yeah, yeah, dude's been around for forever, and he's great. Yeah, and again, what he kind of means to, I mean, if you really think of it, they haven't had a lot of Japanese wrestlers in WWE. You know, especially mostly in the 2000s. He was kind of really you know, or kind of the main guy. Yeah,
a lot of the Japanese guys, they don't really. I mean, up until like maybe Nakamura or whatever, but like they haven't really treated like big deal. But like Tajiri had a decent run for the most part.
Yeah,
like he's always been like used as a decent. He's always in the title picture for the cruiserweight title. He's always in storylines. He's always had something going on. So yeah, and he was very over. So yeah.
Well, I mean, he was never going to be in that position to be like a main event guy, but he was always really high up in like the cruiserweight situations. He was champion a couple times. He was tag team champion a couple times. You know, like he was always kind of. He had matches, big matches occasionally with. He had matches with Triple H and stuff occasionally. Yeah. I mean, he was always around. But yeah, I always liked Jerry. I was always a big fan of his. I like him.
Yeah.
And he was really over in ECW. They loved Tajiri. Even when he was technically a heel, like they never booed him. He was always great.
Yeah.
It's hard to boo a guy that kicks people in the face really hard. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of fun to watch. But yeah, good stuff here. And again, I'm glad when they brought him back for the 05 that they kind of reunited him and Mikey and brought Sinister Minister back. That was fun. When they had them work the FBI in that match.
And people didn't realize like he's been like even before he's been around for like a long time before that. Like pretty sure one of his like big matches was like in 1994 in NWA against Dan Severn.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And no, he's been around for a minute. So yeah, we get, and this is where we got that we mentioned earlier, that weird Baldy's promo in the subway. Again, right before the main event, which was weird because I was like, they're not in the main event.
Did they stop and get sued?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're talking about the next pay-per-view. I don't know, because remember, they're Guilty as Charged is going to be the Hammerstein. Maybe they just stayed in New York. I don't know. And they're just gonna hang around in New York and beat people up, I guess. So, all right, cool, sounds good. But yeah, we get our main event for the ECW heavyweight title. It's a 3-way dance, so it's elimination style. And yeah, we have the champion Steve Corino retaining his title against, at least for the moment, against Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible here in this 3-way dance. So Jerry Lynn kind of dominates some of this match early. There's some brawling around ringside, some chair use here and there. Credible at one point gets on the mic during a match, which I'm always a fan of when somebody takes a mic and does their own commentary or taunts somebody while they're beating them up. I thought that's always fun. So yeah, he does that for a little bit. Lynn hits a tombstone pile driver after countering Credible's tombstone. He drop kicks Corino with a chair. He hits a cradle pile driver on the chair, which I thought was going to be an elimination, and it wasn't. Which was crazy. Just Incredible accidentally hits Francine and punches her in the mouth. Again, like you said, more violence against women. Yay!
He legit hit it too. It looked
pretty snug. Yeah, for what it was. I don't know. Yeah, if he did legitimately or not, but he caught her pretty good in the corner. But then, yeah, right after that, Credible's able to, with the back and forth of Lynn, able to get to That's Incredible tombstone pile driver and pins Jerry Lynn. I think the crowd was kind of pissed about that because he kind of seemed like the only babyface in this match. Am I right?
Sort of, but like I think like there was some boos just because I think the crowd cheered Just Incredible a little bit because he's like New York, and then they cheered. I guess I was cheering Steve Corino because it's kind of, even though it's sort of a heelish, they were it's kind of going to be a babyface reaction to Neil. He's also from New Jersey, but yeah, like the only proper babyface is Jerry Lynn.
But then it's weird though because I don't know what happens in between this and Guilty as Charged, but he's kind of a heel on Guilty as Charged.
Yeah, so I don't
He
know.
joins up with Cyrus, doesn't he, with like the network before that show?
Well, this was weird because once Jerry Lynn gets eliminated, and because I didn't even know that they were aligned, but once Jerry Lynn gets eliminated, Cyrus starts complaining on commentary. Screw job or something. It's a setup, and then he just storms out of commentary. It's like, oh, it's another person. Yeah. So
Well, I thought he was going to go down in the ring, but he never goes down in the ring. Like I thought he was going to go on the microphone or something. He never does. It was weird.
No, he was upset that Jerry Lynn got eliminated, but it wasn't like he was in his corner. He wasn't like barracking for him in the match.
Yeah, if he was like his manager during the match or something, yeah, that'd be one thing. But yeah, he wasn't, and he didn't like appear to be his manager later. But I do remember him being a heel because RVD comes back at Guilty as Charged and has a match with him for the main, kind of an impromptu main event. And Jerry Lynn's definitely working as a heel in that match, from what I remember. Yeah. So it's weird. Yeah, some point between here and there. I guess he joins the network, I think. But anyways, back to this. Yeah, Lynn's eliminated. Carino introduces a ladder into the ring. They do a couple of ladder spots here and there. They brawl back outside. They get to the point where they're both brawling in the balcony and kind of walking the balcony. Credible fucking just waffles him with this goddamn kendo stick right in the head, right in the middle of the balcony. Oh my God, did he just full speed right into his head, which allows Carino to get a little juice, as he was wont to do in most of his matches, much like Ric Flair. He really liked getting that blood into his long, blonde hair. He always kind of did that in a lot of his matches. Carino, it's hard to see, but I guess he's hanging from the balcony, and then Justin canes him a couple more times, and he falls off. But we can't see the landing because of the camera angle. Yeah, but he falls off. I guess the fans probably caught him. I'm sure they did, and he didn't fall that far because he was kind of hanging like full length, like kind of down, so he didn't fall that far. We just said they eventually get back into the ring. Again, there's a little bit of back and forth. Not too much longer after that because Carino's able to hit the old school expulsion for a 3 count, and he retains his title. But at which point, the Sandman returns and pops up, and with his generic bad WWE music that I'm sure was actually Enter Sandman on the pay-per-view. But he comes back in, canes the hell out of Carino to the point where he breaks his kendo stick, and then gets on the mic and tells him that you may be the champion, but I'm taking the belt and leaving.
What a dick.
What an asshole. Yeah, what a baby face. What an ass. He takes the guy from the already beaten and worn out champion and bloody champion and just takes his belt and leaves. and then I believe, if I remember properly as well, Richie, because I have Guilty as Charged 2001, the original DVD, for the one that was put out, in stores. I believe this leads to a TLCC match. Tables, ladders, chairs, and canes with Carino, Justin Credible, and the Sandman, and like a 3-way. I believe it does, and then where they hang it over the ring, because Sandman stole it, so he didn't actually have it. But I believe Sandman wins that match, but then Rhino comes in, challenges him. Sandman accepts the challenge, and then Sandman gets a concussion because he's completely knocked out for most of this, where he's kicking out of moves he's not supposed to kick out of and stuff, to where Rhino has to pile drive him and pin him on top of a table. So from what I remember, he's like completely out of it, and Rhino has to basically hold him down for the 3 count, from what I remember. Yeah, he does all this shit to him and then has to hold him down because he doesn't know where he is. So yeah, that's what it eventually leads to at the final show, from what I remember. But yeah, if
you want to somewhat if you want to ask me a question about how wrestlers that unfortunately, just in the nature of the business, you lose wrestlers too young. If you told me from that in 2023 Sandman would still be alive,
out of everybody, that has passed away, that Sandman is one of the guys that did not pass away. And apparently he doesn't drink anymore. He's sober. He's sober now. He doesn't even drink on the way to the ring anymore or anything like that. Like, he's completely sober now. Like, apparently what his gimmick is, he still brings the beers, but he just pours it into the mouths of the fans, like the old enough fans. Apparently, so he still kind of does the same interest. He just doesn't drink the beer himself, I guess, is what his thing is now. So
it's like the whole I feel like because he's synonymous with beer. It's like, my whole life's a lie. He goes, it's like no, it's not. No, he's not doing the beer thing. But I think Austin doesn't drink beer anymore, even though you think he does with the thing. I think if you believe him, I think he more. Yeah, I think he more prefers wine. It's weird. Anyway, if you
Well, there's that one video he did where he was trying all the different cocktails and stuff. Do you remember that, or did you see
yeah,
that
that was
video?
funny. It was really funny there.
Yeah, he was trying like sex on the beach and all these different cocktails and dirty martinis and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but I mean, he does have his own beer brand now. He's got the
yeah. But I don't know.
Broken Skull Lager and all that.
Yeah,
And
IPA. Yeah.
yeah, which I've tried the Broken Skull Lager. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but then again, I'm not a big beer guy, so take my word for what it is. But yeah, so that's pretty much again our second to last ECW pay per view here with Massacre on 34th Street. Yeah, overall, I mean, probably give this one like a 6.5 or something out of 10 because I don't think there's any kind of like match of the year candidates or anything. But the second half had some really good matches, some really exciting stuff. And again, with a lot of these ECW pay per views, they would occasionally have a big match of the year sort of thing, or some good stuff. But again, not boring. There was no boring dull spots on the show. I didn't think there was any duds. There was never any lulls or boring stuff, and I thought it moved along really well. The crowd was hot, which always helps, into everything. And yeah, the ones that were basically spot fest were still fun spot fest. Like the Whipwreck and Tajiri match. It was a fun spot fest. Yeah. It was a good time. So yeah, what did you think overall?
Yeah, I'd probably go around there too, but 6.5. I think it was a fun show. I didn't have many issues with it. Just if I'm just the only reason I probably give it 6.5, just comparing it to other ECW shows, was just maybe compared to other ones, just sort of lighter on the extreme. I felt like maybe it's shocking how unextreme. The Balls Mahoney match compared to matches he's had in the past, but yeah,
there was some table stuff, but there wasn't like a lot of blood on the show or like a really bloody match. There was color here and there, but just a couple of table spots that were cool, but yeah, nothing like over the top. Even the balcony dives were fairly safe, nothing crazy.
Yeah. So that's fine. No, good matches. I love the CW Anderson match. I love the main event. I like all the matches on the show really. And it's just silly, ref logic that gets but I'm always that's not just this show. It's always going to be an issue on ECW. Just something that they never kind of worked out prior to going extreme. Right. So but it was fine. It was just good, but it wasn't there's nothing stand out man, that's going to be a like an all time sort of thing. But yeah, it was a fun show, great crowd. So
No, that's a recommend. I like most of these W pay-per-views have been fun. I like Joey Styles and Cyrus anytime they're on commentary. They're a fun team. Joey's great and Cyrus is a nice counterpart. Don Callis is always great. So, and he balanced out with Joey a lot because he's a perfect kind of heel guy, but he knew wrestling really well. So he made a lot of logical arguments times too, which were fun. Yeah. Not just making up bullshit. He usually kind of rooted things in reality as well, but was always kind of rooting for the heels as he does. But yeah, they're always a fun team. And I mean, I think they still had a really solid roster around this time and had some really talented people kind of bumming around that. Yeah, like we talked about, some of them didn't get a proper, chance here and there. People like Danny Dorian Roadkill or York and Matthews or C.W. Anderson, some of those guys.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's, again, I feel like some of that is unfortunately, when the WWE ECW came around, it was just I felt like Vince was trying to make a point, this weird, stupid point that these ECW guys aren't, they're from the opera, they're nothing like us. So he then had made a point to bury most of them, maybe with the exception of maybe Tommy Dreamer, just because he was there before. I don't know.
Tommy Dreamer. Well, RVD had been doing the WWE thing for a while, so he was already established. Or Sandman even kind of got to the point where they were just letting him come in and cane people and not really work matches. I mean, probably rightfully so. He's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but why wouldn't you bring in somebody like Jerry Lynn, who was still working? That guy would have been perfect. He's a great wrestler. They barely used him when he was there in 2001, at all before he got hurt.
They made a point almost to make fun of him when he won he won the light heavyweight title on the
on Heat
on before Backlash, and then the next pay-per-view Judgment Day, they made almost been making fun of him like that he was like at the WWF New York and then whinging that he didn't have a match. It's like why do I don't even know what the point of that, unless it was leading to something, but it didn't. He got released not long after that.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, yeah, definitely some missed opportunities. Some of these guys in there, but it is what it is. Most of these guys ended up okay. Where they went to other promotions and whatnot. But that was We'll wrap it up. That was ECW Massacre on 34th Street. We lucked out not having to do December Dismember, Richie. So at least it's not as bad as December Dismember. I'll take an okay ECW pay per view over December Dismember any day.
Yeah, that might be a group. That might be a full panel one.
No, we might have to do that next year, next December, as a full panel. Yeah, we'll have to have the whole group or something and do that one because that's going to be a discussion. But we have one last bit of business for our to set up our show next week. Again, we're kind of just doing some fun stuff, kind of killing some time here in December. So I had the idea that we've done a end of the year WWE show. We did a Survivor Series 2003. We did an ECW show with this Massacre on 34th Street. So why not do a end of the year WCW show, which was Starrcade, of course, their big show of the year, kind of like their sort of WrestleMania, if you will, but it just happened to always come at the end of the year in December. So what I've done, just again keep it random, is I got all the years of Starrcade. We're going to spin a wheel of Starrcade, Richie. So we got literally it starts at 83 with Ric Flair and Harley Race in the cage match, kind of famously, all the way to 2000 to the end of WCW. So we've got all the years of Starrcade to see what we do here. And I figure, we'll just put them all on the wheel and just see where we go and see what we get. So, Richie, if you will assist me, how many times would you like me to hit the shuffle before we spin and find out what we're doing? What would you like?
Let's go 4.
All right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's spin the wheel of Starrcade and see what year me and you are going to review for next week. Oh, boy. Oh, okay. This is an interesting one. 95. Okay. All right. 1995. So I believe, if I remember right from my little bit of research, this is one of the good ones. So we might be in luck. Maybe not the overall best one, but it's one of the ones that I saw on many lists in sort of a top 5 or top 6 Starrcade situation. So that's a good sign. And I believe it's interesting, Richie, because I believe 95, and I'm pretty certain of this, was the WCW versus New Japan night.
Oh, that one, yeah. I think I've watched that for a long time ago, but I watched it, yeah.
So, it's kind of a whole night of WCW versus 1995 New Japan, which should be interesting because, New Japan is very relevant today, but, was definitely in a different spot in 1995, certainly with a different roster. I do remember, I think the standout match is supposedly Otani and Eddie Guerrero, I think, have like a really good match. It's supposed to be a really, really, really good match on that show, and a couple of the good matches here and there. Again, I think the rest of the card's like a mixed bag, some good, some bad, but an interesting show nonetheless with WCW versus New Japan, from what I remember. So that should be fun to talk about. That'll be a fun trip down memory lane. So so I think we spun one of the good ones, Richie. So luckily, we won't be either bored out of our minds or watching a lot of shit. We almost had 99, which I know 99 and 2000 are both shit. So
and 97, the ending's not great. So.
No, we just missed out on 99 there on the wheel, which would have been bad. But I believe 95 is one of the pretty good ones. So, that should be a fun one to talk about. So we'll talk, whatever news kind of develops over the week or anything else we want to talk about. And we'll do a retro review of WCW Starrcade 1995, WCW versus New Japan. So there we go. All right, sounds good. Richie, anything you got coming up? Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? And we'll get out of here.
Not a whole lot. I think I'm going to be on just on I'm in all the leagues. CWT just filmed a match. They just did a match with Alec Miller. Check that out. Tournament 5 will be on there tomorrow. With bit non Marvel DC comic book movies. Should be fun. I'll be on there a few ones coming up there. John Mars Horror League, there will be horror. I think I've got I believe he's got a free for all, or not a free for all, but like a sort of a melee type thing with Jordan. I was involved, and I'm going to be in that, so I will probably be in that too. I don't never do really that well because I don't know what He's like, oh, what's this avant-garde Swedish film from the 1940s?
Yeah,
I don't,
right. I don't
but
know.
but yeah, and then yeah, so but yeah, and think yeah, eventually I'll do Battleground. I think me and Jacob are going to do battle at some point. I know Aaron's sort of probably tied up with a lot of stuff, end of year like exams and like college and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll get to it when he get to it. But that'll be a good matchup. And yeah, other than that, yeah, you can catch you next week with this arcade WCW versus New Japan, and yeah, no, all good.
Yeah, no. Speaking of free for alls, though, you'll be part of our Seen and Heard free for all
Yeah.
here this Sunday. You spun a good number. Speaking of spinning a wheel, you spun a pretty good number for that. I think you're number 22 as of right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if anybody drops out, you're in the 20s, so you got a pretty good slot there. Kind of that back half, kind of like a back half Royal Rumble slot there. So you got a good position there to maybe go pretty far. So, but yeah, that'll be Sunday night here on the channel around 8 p.m. You can stay tuned for that. Like Richie said, we got tournament fights and tier anchor fights. We got a couple next week. As for stuff outside of that, Monday night, well, it might be taping it might not be live, but me and Aaron, speaking of Aaron Canole, we're going to be doing a countdown for Battleground Casual. I've been meaning to do for a while. We're going to do a top 12 Martin Scorsese movies countdown, so that should be fun, which I'm pretty ready for. I've slowly worked my way and kind of completed my Scorsese filmography, so I'm very happy with that. So I got some good rankings there. And then Wednesday afternoon, because we've been doing some afternoon ones due to Ryan Permison's schedule, but we've been doing these movie watch-alongs over on his Nerd Culture channel. And Wednesday we'll be doing Die Hard at 3:30 in the afternoon, so which I just watched in the theater again today, this afternoon, actually. So my rewatch was in the theater, so that was fun. I was by myself in the theater on a Thursday afternoon watching Die Hard, so that was cool. Nice little private screening. But yeah, that's what we got going on the channel here, so you can stay tuned for all that. Thank you for anybody who tunes in and watches this. We appreciate it. And yeah, we will see you next week on Lonely March for all the news, and like we said, WCW Starrcade 1995. But that'll do it for tonight. So for Richie Goodacre, I am Austin Pez Holloway. Appreciate you tuning in.